sure that my knee up is there.
Welcome back to Champion News Talk Radio, brought to you by championnews.net. Today, Vincent Romano, candidate for the House of Representatives District 15, is with us, and his opponent is Micheal Madigan's right-hand man. And what again is his daytime job, Vincent?
Well, he, I believe, is employed with Goldman Cairo, which is the largest workman's comp law firm in the state of Illinois. And like I said, Illinois has the highest workman's comp rate in the nation. One of the major reasons companies were leaving before the tax rate increases was because the workman's comp rate. We just had Caterpillar take their job from overseas, and instead of putting the factory back in Illinois, they went to Athens, Georgia. They cited the condition of the state, the leadership they thought
they have a right to work law.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right to work, isn't it a funny name? But what it means is you are not compelled to join the union to hold your job.
You know what I find, excuse me, I'm going to kind of jump off the track here for a second, but the left is so good on women's rights and all these rights, but they don't want to give people the right to work. I mean, it's such a contradictory, it's a hypocrisy. But
well, they don't like giving people an option. The worker should have a right. If he wants to join a union, join a union.
Absolutely.
If you don't want to join the union, don't join the union.
The worker doesn't have a chance, really, because you've got three parties now. You got the employer, you got the union, and you got the worker. And the worker's caught in the middle because the unions can get them, like with this new law they're trying to get in, so that they really don't have much of a chance in the election. But at any rate, there has to be an election to get thrown into the union unless the employer just signs up with the union and gets a sweetheart contract. Mm-hmm. So what does the employee really get out of the union?
They tell them that the union's going to protect them, another nanny protection for the folks.
And when they get in this and they start getting beautiful salaries, what's the eventual happening? The company loses its customers and goes bankrupt. General Motors, big GM, went bankrupt entirely because of the abuse of the union that ruined them. That's why it's lucky that we got the right to work law even passed, and it was done by a senator from Illinois. And there's 23 states that now have a right to work law, which merely means you can't compel the man to do it. The automobiles in America are largely being made in the right-to-work states, largely by foreign countries, because the ones that were indigenous, the American companies, they got run into bankruptcy by the
You're talking the Saturns and the Toyotas.
That same kind of abuse that you get to us taxpayers from the unions that are running the schools here in Illinois. It's terrible what they've done. Who are your bosses? Who does the teachers have for a boss? Nobody but the union. They've set all of the working rules, the pay, the retirement, everything else that bankrupted the school system.
Well, it translates from the private sector to the public sector. If you look what happened to GM and all these other companies who had the unions with their pensions and their benefits that crippled GM. I mean, I read a report a while ago when I was first getting into finance. GM spent $500 million on its steel for its automobiles. They spent $5 billion a year on I think it was just prescription drugs.
Oh my gosh.
Or health benefits. So I mean, those are just crippling things that a company can't afford to control.
But when we bailed them out,
the unions got them all these privileges in retirement pay, which really is bad. Too much pay compared to the way cars are built anywhere in the world. It's crazy. But in right-to-work states, you even got BMW from Germany building fine cars that put a factory down in the southern states because down there they have a right-to-work law. Here in Illinois, we don't have one.
Well, the GMs and other companies that went out of business, they couldn't compete with other companies. Illinois, I always say this, if Illinois can't compete with other states, we're going the same way. We're going to die. I mean, we have to
can't go bankrupt, though.
Well, we have to make this a business-friendly, as you said before, people were held victims here. They need opportunities, and those opportunities are jobs. And part of getting the workforce back here, we need those jobs to come back here. We're ranked 48th in business climate We just got lowered about a month ago from
Business
47 to
climate
40.
means jobs for people.
Right. Well, you have businesses leaving, but if we need to take like some drastic steps to get jobs back in here. We need to lower our corporate tax rate first off, our income tax rate, so we have a good worker base here. We have the empowerment zones that were started about 30 years ago that created about 400,000 jobs across the state. I think there's 97 empowerment work zones.
What does that mean, empowerment work zones?
Basically, it was a zone they set up. You could have 97 zones across the state, I think was the limit when it was implemented. And these empowerment zones said, well, businesses, if you're going to buy materials to expand your business, there's no sales tax on that. It was kind of a break to say, you know what, expand your business, grow your business, create more jobs, and you're going to
What
get a
does
little
that
bit of a
do to businesses that are here already? You know, I'm an employer of almost 600 people. So the politicians here made a big deal of bringing Boeing in, getting that employer. That was 300 jobs. I'm twice as big as Boeing. That's kind of a
I
joke.
believe Boeing got a tax break to come here too.
Yeah, but they made a big deal to bring them in here.
Yeah.
And Sears just got a big deal on the taxes over here in Crook County.
Yeah, well, here's what really upsets me are these, you got CME Group, Sears, Caterpillar, they're able to call up Madigan's office and say, hey, give me a tax break or I'm leaving the state. What about the small businessmen?
Right.
Yeah.
Your mom and pop.
Yeah, the mom and pop store, can they call up Madigan? Unless they give him a $5,000 donation, he's not going to pick up the phone for him.
Right.
But, I mean, they're not going to be able to say, hey, I'm leaving the state to go someplace else to make my business.
Companies,
They
think of
can't.
it. Companies
They
that are
can't.
actually manufacturing here in Illinois, who have a factory with machinery and big buildings and all of the things that go with providing jobs in manufacturing. What happens? They're stuck here because they got real estate and equipment. The big outfits are horizontal. They're going to make it in Mexico and sell it here, sell it everywhere.
Yeah, they're big
It's
enough
going to
to
be
be able
made
to
in
move.
China. The jobs are all gone because this government here is killing off their own indigenous business. And they're making sweetheart deals for themselves. And the workers of the state of Illinois and all of the rest of us are getting cursed by the stinking politicians you got. With the Democrats in charge, they got the governor, they got the House, they got the Senate, and they got the city of Chicago, and they own the stinking mess we're in, the Democrats. And in November, we should be throwing those sons of guns out of power. And you should go in. There isn't I haven't heard of anybody better qualified to help cure one of the worst things that's going on is in these workman comp laws. And to take out the right-hand guy of Madigan, boy, the voters of your district, they ought to find out how to really do something good in electing you.
Well, I'd like to know more about this company. Has anybody done any research on our contracts for workman's comp and what company is the most friendly to Illinois? Because I'm wondering if we peel the onion back, we wouldn't find some. What is the name of that company again?
I think it's Goldman Cairo. I know Cairo, it's either Goldberg or Goldman Cairo.
Is it Cairo like spelled like Cairo, Egypt?
Cairo, yeah.
Okay, okay.
And I know the Iron Workers Union is one of the main supporters or main business people.
Which union is that?
I think it's the
Ornamental?
Iron Workers Union.
Ornamental iron workers or
I haven't dug that deep yet.
structural?
But I don't know how to get into those books and see how much union business goes through there, because I've heard that the union is the biggest claimant through that company. And for people who don't know, I think a lot of lawyers don't actually have to work the cases. They just get paid on the referral fees. So if business comes through that company.
But those are all private sector unions.
It's a racket, isn't it?
But those are private sector unions, so that's not as bad as our public sector unions, like our teachers' union.
Right.
the
Well, there's a
IEA.
difference. There's, you know,
big difference.
one is an arbitrary relationship. The other one, with like the public unions, it's an incestuous relationship because
That's-
they're in bed with the guys that they've gotten elected. But
Right.
one of the most incredible things to look at is what Scott Walker did in Wisconsin. Under collective bargaining, healthcare was part of it. Unions have their own healthcare. And so these school districts were paying millions of dollars for outrageous healthcare. As soon as that got removed from the collective bargaining arena, all of a sudden, there's bids for healthcare that saved them millions of dollars. All of a sudden, the
sure.
union comes back with, oh, well, we could give you for this rate.
Well, competition creates lower
The money that the district saved by getting rid of the collective bargaining, they were able to hire more teachers.
Yeah, that saved a lot of teachers' jobs. what Walker did up there. I mean, he's done an amazing job up there. We face a little bit different of a problem. I mean, we have the unions, the teachers' unions, but we also have a bigger Medicaid problem than Wisconsin has. So that's something we really need to work on also.
Those two things, but by far the larger crazy spending is in education. We don't need more money there. It would do, you could have a better education system at 2/3 the cost. Billions of dollars to be saved getting rid of this crazy union that's running things.
Yeah, well, we could talk about that.